We are 15 seconds in today's broadcast. Thank you so much for taking the time this morning to join me. Out of your very busy schedule, sit down with me for a few minutes. We are in an election year. And so most of the things that are happening now, most of the news that we watch, not only on social media, but on mainstream media as well, is mainly about Zambian politics. And so it is with great responsibility that each one of us has to do everything within our power to represent the facts as they are, not as we see them or as we perceive them. Before I begin, I'd like to, first of all, greet you, my audience, and also to ask you, as is my custom, can you hear me? Is my voice loud and clear? Because there have been a few times I've jumped on here and lo and behold, something's wrong with the mic, or I haven't set my sound right. I've done something wrong on occasion. So I'd like for you to tell me if I am loud and clear so that we can get this show on the road. Phil Zone is watching us live from Kabwe. Alexis. Good morning, Mr. You know, the name Alexis, when I was a kid, there was a show called Dynasty. And there was a character on there called Alexis Carrington. She was the villain. So when I hear the name Alexis, I think of Alexis Carrington. Mike Michaels says yes, we can. You're loud and clear. Wonderful. That's all I wanted to know. Guys, again, thank you for joining me wherever you are. I'd like for a few moments to talk to you about something I watched early this morning, but I think it was on last night. You know, in the last few weeks, let me adjust this camera here. Boom, so that there's enough. You know, they tell you when you're vlogging, there needs to be 4 fingers. See, my elbows are ashy. Goodness. Somebody on Facebook is going to say, well, you've got ashy elbows. So I got to use a bit of Nivea. Got to put that Nivea on there so that they don't see the ashy elbows. All right. See, they tell you that you need to have at least 4 fingers on top of your head, between the top of your head and the top and the bottom of the top of the frame. You can't look too tight, they say. This is what they say. Anyway, I digress, because I know some of you are going to start jumping. Well, I don't have time to listen to those fingers you're talking about. Can you just get to the point? All right, relax. We'll get there. So I was watching this show on Diamond TV, and my dear friend, who is an amazing journalist, I call him Jonah. He's with Diamond TV. I mean, he's brilliant. He's interviewing on this show that I was watching last night on Diamond TV, interviewing this man that calls himself JJ Banda. And in the last several weeks, we've been hearing about this character. Now, let me tell you something about social media and the power of social media. Social media has the tendency to create a narrative, an organic narrative, that if it is not challenged, that organic narrative grows. In other words, what I'm saying is perception is everything. In the last few weeks, we've been hearing this name, JJ Banda. We've seen pictures, but we've never really heard this man engage in an interview. We've never heard him challenged. We've never heard him speak for himself. We've never heard him toe the line. We've never heard him pontificate or articulate his ideas. Well, for the first time, for me, I don't know about you guys. You speak for yourself, okay? I can only speak for me. I, for the first time, heard him, and I must tell you, he was a complete train wreck. It was. And let me pause here for a moment and say to you that we are living in a time in Zambian politics where if we do not challenge the people that offer their service, because really that's what it is, they misconstrue it in their minds. All they think about is no, and therefore kuba MP. Therefore kuba MP. I want to rule. They never think about service. They never think about what they can bring to the table. They never think about the value they add. It's always about them and their organization or their political party, whomever that may be. But for the first time, we saw J.J. Banda attempt to articulate himself, and he was a complete train wreck. It was like watching a train wreck in slow motion. The man kept on falling all over himself. Now, before I go further, not farther, before I go further, F-U-R-T-H-E-R, let me say this. In the comments, I know many of you have said, no, just because he can't express himself in English, he should not be disenfranchised. That one is a bony leader. Well, the position he's vying for requires that he is able to articulate himself in English. Guys, pull your heads out of the clouds. Many of you live in la la land. Many of you live in a fantasy. Zambian politics is about being able not only to connect with the grassroots, but if you're vying for a position like a member of parliament, when you get to parliament there, when you get to the National Assembly, and when you stand on that floor and the speaker says, honorable member from Petauke, you're going to have to express yourself in English. That's our official language. Like it or not, that's just the way it is. Because many of you, you've got this, you ride this high horse of, no, he can't talk English, but he's a leader. So why are you vying for that position that requires you, once you get to the National Assembly, to express yourself in English? You can't do it now. How are you going to do it then? And it begs the question, why do it in the first place? Somebody sent me a message this morning. It says, but Mr. Moyo, don't you think that the journalist was bullying, taking advantage of the fact that J.J. Banda can't express himself in English? Guys, it's like this. Let me give you this example. Mike Tyson, some of you, many of you remember, he was once the baddest man on the planet, they used to call him. Mike Tyson was a fierce, ferocious heavyweight champion. Every opponent he ever faced looked at him with fear. Except Buster Douglas, I think. It was Buster Douglas that knocked him out in Japan. Remember that? Well, prior to Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson only fought the guys that earned the opportunity to fight him. In other words, if you're going to fight Mike Tyson, you better be very good at what you do. You can't step into the ring with Mike Tyson and be less than. You can't say, no, me, I'm just a beginner. Don't disenfranchise me. No, son, you're in the heavyweight division now. And if you're in the heavyweight division, you have to bring your heavyweight division game face on. You can't step into the ring with a kindergarten mindset and say to the people of Zambia, I want to serve you as member of parliament, but you can't carry a 4-word sentence. It means you're in the wrong game. In my opinion, that gentleman, I've never met him, but just based on that interview, I can tell very clearly, number one, he's out of his league. Number two, he's way over his head. Number three, he was up against the heavyweight. I mean, literally, how do you go up against Dora Celia, who Dora Celia can express herself succinctly? I mean, Dora Celia on the campaign trail, she can speak her language fluently, her indigenous language fluently, and she can also express herself perfectly in English. And then you're going to go up against someone like that, and then when they don't select you, you feel disgruntled, you feel disenfranchised, you feel sidelined, and then you go out and say, I'm going to run as an independent. You go against the grain. You go against your party because they didn't select you. And then you do this. This is what I don't get about Zambian politics. Bana mufwire mwachinja. Ichichi sela, ichakuta bakusalire, and then why independent? Nonsense. Nonsense. Then he does the unthinkable. He says, I'm independent, but I support the programs of our president, Edgar Chagwarungu. Do you know how ridiculous you sound? The man you're talking about is the president of the party. That party you belong to has procedure, it's got structures, it's got bylaws, it's got its own system of doing things. So it's not possible. It is irrational for you, on one hand, to say, I'm going independent. And then on the other hand, you say, but in the process, me, I support the president's programs. Edgar Chagwarungu. You sound ridiculous. You sound dull. You sound uneducated. Ushiro. Get in line. If you really want to serve your people, get in line. Do what's required of you. There's a word for that. There's a word for what you're doing. Imoba JJ Banda. There's a word for what you do. On one hand, you feel disenfranchised, and then you leave, you stand as an independent. And then on the other hand, you say, no, me, I support the president. That's called manipulation. Look it up in the dictionary, JJ. I know it's going to be a tall order for you to look up that word and define it, and much less pronounce it. But I'm telling you, son, that's exactly what you're doing. It's called manipulation. And political parties shouldn't do this. Don't allow that type of anarchy to take root and to germinate. Come on, guys. You're a political party that has structures. Make it clear to your members that this is the way it's going to be done. Now, notwithstanding, we all know that there's a lot of skullduggery. There's a lot of trickery. There's a lot of underhandedness that goes with the political adoption process in Zambia. We all know that. It's not a secret. Everybody knows stuff happens back there. There's stuff that you and I are not privy to, but we know, we see the writing on the wall, okay? But regardless, if you call yourself a loyalist, if you belong to a political party and you stand on the tenets of your political faith, and it's here from your heart, toe the line, brother. Toe the line, sister. Not everything is peachy keen. Not everything is sunshine and rainbows. Not everything will go your way. You are the elements that bring confusion in a party. Ngaba tabami sadide wayachita independent uko eri okulia wama nombo kusoka au basadide. You are an enemy of democracy. You are an enemy against process. I almost said progress. You are an enemy of procedure. Da mufuaya procedure. Imwe mufuaya echo le fuaya. Vina vamene uinverela. Changanya bwana. Ukoku ine twalaya eko twalaya. You know what amazes me about Zambian politics is a lot of these so-called politicians, and they love to say this, which I can't stand. They love to say, no, il n'est pas ground. Bafuaya, il n'est pas ground. Jonah, the Diamond TV journalist, asked J.J. Banda very clearly, how do you know you are the preferred candidate? How do you know that? What yardstick have you used to measure that? You know what JJ's response was? Well, me, on the ground, when people appreciate me, they appreciate me. When there's a funeral, you go to a funeral. So what? Going to funerals. This is the politics we have to change in Zambia. Just because you attend funerals, just because you buy 10 bags of mealie meal, just because you provide a tent, just because you say that you're on the ground, that doesn't mean anything, or at least it shouldn't. If you're going to select someone based upon their frequency at funerals, you're in the wrong game, brother. You're doing the wrong thing. You haven't done the right thing. That's ridiculous. Ground. No, Ishmashan. What measure, what yardstick are you using to ascertain that? Come on, guys, be real. Be real. So my advice to J.J. Banda, whom I honestly think he has no business being anywhere near Parliament. That man is a foot soldier. That is his confinement, or at least it should be his confinement. He is a foot soldier. He's a mobilizer. He's a mobilizer on the ground. That is the purpose he would be best suited for. Not member of parliament. Bane fimamule ipima. Why ipima? Muchisungu balan that what you can measure, you can control. I want that to sink in for a moment. I need that to sizzle in your spirit for a second. Let me say that again because I think that's important. In English, valandati, what you can measure, you can control. Why pima? You survey the situation. You suss it out and you say, I think yapa. Why pima? Don't have delusions of grandeur. You know what delusions of grandeur? You know what that means? When someone has delusions of grandeur, it means he puts himself or she puts himself in a position higher than that person can attain or achieve. That's like me. I'm just a guy with this Facebook page. I've got a few lights and a camera and a laptop and this microphone. But I'm not an astronaut. There you go. I'm not an astronaut. Why? Because I haven't been trained to be an astronaut. So I can't just wake up one day and say, you know what? I'm going to the moon tomorrow. And someone looks at me and says, well, how do you propose to achieve that? Well, I believe in myself. Okay, aside from your belief and your self-confidence, what else have you done to achieve your goal of getting to the moon? No, I just believe in myself. I know inside my heart. Mumutima na background badishi bati kulya kumunu kulya one day nkafikako. Do you know how ridiculous you sound? Guys, you have to engage in real politics. Real politics. Real, authentic politics. Not yama politics yakulota. Walota fyewa chaisa fye kumutima. Yo, inende folk a member of parliament. And you don't have the ability, you don't have the wherewithal, you don't have the dexterity to achieve that goal. Be real. Now, people like, I'm not vouching for her, I'm just giving you an example. People like Dora Celia, they have a track record of that. They're able to do that. It's like a duck to water. You take a duck, you throw it in water, it swims naturally. It comes naturally. Nombanga wabula JJ Banda as imbata wamposa muntwani, not imbata. Wabule nimbata and then wamubika mundeke ati enshanombe ndeke. Ngala alambira pesa. He doesn't know how to fly a plane. Why? Because he hasn't been trained. He doesn't know how to do that. Why would you give someone a task that they are not able to do? I'm involved. I go to court on occasion. But when I go to court, guess what I do? Not in every case, but I've done this. I hire a lawyer who is equipped to do that. He knows more than I do. When I hire a lawyer and I'm involved in some type of litigation and I get a guy who calls himself a lawyer, he better know more than me because I'm paying him. He's trained to do that. Some of you guys that call yourselves politicians, you don't have the ability. Moi, je vais faire pas ground, yo ni never fire. Waya kuchirido, waya shita kobunga, yo va fire ine. Come mule pima. All right, that's it. That's all I had to say. So here's my call to action. Give me a call. Tell me what you think about what should Zambian politicians, people that call themselves politicians, should they be able to express themselves in English? Because after all, that is our official language. As much as you try to avoid that, that is our official language. Give me a call on that number. Tell me what you think. Roadcaster Pro is connected for calls. Let me read a couple of your comments here. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Here's a comment. Let them measure themselves. Why pima? And be careful with social media. I have to tell you, don't allow social media to create a narrative based on pictures and articles. Put the guy to the test. Put him in an interview. Ask him tough questions. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
A very good morning to you, sir. Who am I speaking with?
Speaking to George Water from Chifubukon.
Oh, George called me on insufficient funds. Don't worry, it happens to everybody. I've done that many times where you call someone and then phone yaputuka pantua tumapadi insufficient funds. Firachitika. No one is exempt. Hello.
Uncle Simon, good morning.
A very good morning to you, sir.
Alexis here.
Hey, Alexis. Is that your given name?
Yes.
Amazing. Go ahead.
To start with, I think I only have two things to tribute.
Yes, sir.
When you said it's an enemy to democracy, I think I don't agree with you on that one.
Tell me.
Yeah, because when it comes to democracy, I feel every individual citizen who feel they can come to the party, they can come to the fray to participate in politics, feel they are free to do so, they are allowed to do so. Then, when it comes to process and procedure, you are very right. Every political party has its structures, have its laws, which every member, which I believe JJ is part of PF. So for the party to come and say, no, we've decided to adopt this person, we've decided to adopt Doris Leah, I think that the party member, he's supposed to oblige by that. He's supposed to follow what the party has decided. So for him to decide, no, I'm going independent, then at the same time, no, I'm supporting ECL. Come on, that's like a whole contradiction altogether. So basically, that's what I wanted to contribute or say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alexis. God bless. Yes, I agree with the last part. If the party that you say you belong to doesn't select you, you can't leave. In my view, you can't leave and say you'll run as an independent, but still speak glowingly of the presidency of the president of that party. That's called manipulation. That's called covering your bases. That's not commitment. That's called riding the fence. Pick a side.
Hello?
Hello, yes.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
All right. Hello?
Yes, sir. We can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, exactly. Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm calling you from Fair.
Kumufurira.
Yeah.
Mkwaye, kulisha nyuko kumufu.
Kumufu kuliso wino.
Wonderful. Please go ahead, sir.
Yes, please. Yeah, I want to concur with you what you're saying. First in the first place. Yeah. In the first place, as you are saying, if you want to contest in the parliamentary or whatever level that you feel like you want to contest, first of all, you have to gauge yourself. Am I able to stand and defeat this man? If your conscience tells you that you are, then you get into that game. You'll be subjected to whatever processes that you have spoken about. If indeed you mean to serve the people of Zambia diligently and honestly, and then you are not picked, you have to accept. You subjected yourself to a competition. That's a competition. Now you have been walloped by whoever is better than you, as decided by the committee. You have to respect that. That is democracy.
Yes.
When you are a progressive person.
Yes.
Not in the first instance to subject yourself to a competition. You are not picked, then you become bitter. No.
Wafulwa.
That's not how it's supposed to be. The way it is supposed to be, gawamono kutira tikwena vena mwewapa balance path. Imini independent. Don't subject yourself to competition against it. Imini na say a competition from the word go.
From the word go.
Yes. Then it will make sense. So I concur with you, and this is a very good education that you are giving to these people who think they want to stand Maran Kanyomo. That's very good. These are the things that they're supposed to be doing. Yeah. So actually, that's what I wanted to contribute.
Thank you so much, sir. God bless you. Stay safe.
It's the same to you.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to subject yourself to the process, accept the results. accept them. That shows us that you're committed and you hold the tenets of your political faith dear. Hello? Hello? Vaputula. Vachituma padi insufficient funds. It happens to everybody. It happens to me all day, every day. Hello?
Yes, Mr. Mel.
Mkwaye.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Who am I speaking with?
Benjamin.
Kuisaba Benjamin.
Benjamin from Mundora.
Kundola kukopala.
MK.
Mkwaye, please go ahead, Benjamin.
Yes, just a contribution on the people that are standing as an independent.
Mkwaye.
There are a lot of things that happens in the party structures. There is what they call the primary elections and the procedure up to the central committee. And the party has always pledged to honor what the word will say, and also to honor what the constituents will say, and also to honor what the province will say. So for example, if a judge was adopted at the ward level, after to begin at a section level, then he was adopted at the ward level, then he was adopted again at the constituents level, and also at the province level. Then the national committee turns down the decision of these other structures. There it can be compelled to feel that he has been popular all along. He has been popular, he has been endorsed by those structures. As a result, he can stand as an independent. There's nothing wrong to stand as an independent. But where the conflict is arising, whereby you are saying you are an independent and then you support the leader of the organization that you have gone against the grain of their decision. So on that one, what I can say is we should begin to educate people about the tenets or the lights of the democratic lights that they have, and also the structures and also the central committee to understand each other and how to iron out these differences. Because when we see such people going against the decision of the top organ, then something is wrong. Something is wrong in their procedures. So we need to revisit it and refine our way of doing politics, even in two different parties and the different political parties, because it affects the well-being of the nation. What is being done in the UPND, what is being done in the intra-party politics of PF, what is being done in the intra-party political situation of SP, it will affect the nation. So if we see that things are not moving well, quickly, as advocates for the people, you address that issue as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Before you go, sir, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Wushe, what do you think when a candidate, just like you've pointed out, and thank you very much for making that very clear, that there are structures at every level that make decisions that the central committee looks at. My question to you is this: when a candidate does what JJ Banda has done, he's gone against the grain, he feels disgruntled, but then simultaneously at the same time, he praises the president. What do you think that is? What is he trying to do there? What message is he sending there?
It's a contradiction message, and that is where the problem is now beginning. Also, the president must quickly distance himself to such people who are endorsing him, but they are standing against to compete with the party at the grassroots level.
Very important point. Thank you for saying that. Thank you. Manipulators. They are manipulators. They manipulate the political system by speaking glowingly of the leader, but ignoring the process, procedure of the structures. That's a misnomer. And the president should should talk about that. Nip that in the bud. Those are the troublemakers. Everybody akuntanshi, ebalete chimfulunganya mupati, abobe nyabo. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, good morning, sir.
A very good morning. Who am I speaking with?
Timothy from Chinsadi.
Kuchinsadi. That's where my mother's from, you know.
Really?
My mother's from there. Nga kwa Kasomo wani kuishiba kwa Kasomo.
Ah, yeah. Actually, I'm very close.
Nga kwa Bulimbo. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm a banda anyway.
Okay, no, that's fine. We love you.
Yeah.
We still love you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Uncle Simon.
Mm.
Okay, yeah, just a contribution over what you do.
Yes.
Yes. I want you to look at it also in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
What we're talking about, let's say, these adoptions. This is a system that starts from the grassroots. Okay. And in most cases, you find that the things on the grassroots, people have been done. They want a candidate. Let's for instance, we're talking about JJ here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, fine. People on the ground have accepted. And then it reaches a point where, say, on the provincial level is now where it's the whole province, all the districts, they sit down and then they have to decide and agree, and then now it goes to the central committee. And then their things go haywire.
Mm-hmm.
They decide to pick another person.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue here is, on the ground, the people of that particular constituency, if they say this is the person that we want, and then the central committee decides to pick another candidate, the ordinary citizens, the Zambians themselves in that particular constituency, that if we require JJ to stand, but the central committee deems him not to be fit, bakana, but abantu ena pa ground bafumina. In that regard, JJ is a servant of the people. And the people, what the people say is what he follows. In this regard, what does he do? Is it to respect the wish of the people that he intends to serve, or to follow the wish of few individuals that are in the central committee and say, Panto Abete Valandire, Naination Arakonka, or he follows the majority, the so-called electorate that he wants to serve?
Let me ask you.
Why he says, let me just finish,
Sure.
and then you can ask.
Sure.
The reason why he says, my support remains unshaken to the president. It's not his wish. He wouldn't have loved to stand as an independent. But what choice does he have? If he feels he's going to injure his own people that want him to be there, that he's got no choice, they've left him. His support for the president is intact. He respects that, and he wants more votes for the president. There is nothing he can do about it, because that's where his loyalty is. But then they've left him. Yet the people on the ground say, we want you. Can you please go and stand? We are going to vote for you. What happens in that regard? So we should also look at that. You can ask me, sir.
Let me ask you the question that Jonah asked about JJ Banda, and I want you to tell me the answer. When you say JJ has people on the ground that wanted him, what yardstick did you use to come to that conclusion? In other words, there were no votes that were taken. There was no referendum that was conducted. How do you know that the majority of the people want JJ? Where are the numbers that say that? Is it just a group of people? No, hold on. Is it a group of people that just come together and say, oh, muntu esuyo? Where are the numbers that say that? What measuring stick are you using to come up with that conclusion?
Okay, that's a very good question. It's a very good question. And then the answer is very simple. You see, when you are on the ground, you are moving. Of course, when we say being on the ground, doesn't mean the paka school then I think I'm okay, I'm doing fine. No. Being on the ground means being there. I don't know for how long he's been in Petauke there doing what he does. He's got his own projects that he does there to help out the people.
My question is, where are the numbers? When you say he's the popular one on the ground, where are those numbers that tell the Central Committee that chine umuntu uyu emuntu wesu? When you say that, where are the numbers?
Hey, unless now you want him to say, later Maka Potabo, we want to see these numbers that you are talking about that now then he's going to prove to you that yes, I have the numbers.
But has he done that?
Written statistics that ama numbers in here. Did he conduct a referendum? No. But he has the numbers.
No,
we can see.
Then you know what? We're shooting in the dark. In English, that's just called shooting in the dark. There are no numbers. Politics is about numbers, they tell us. Show us the numbers. JJ doesn't have physical, tangible numbers. What he has is an idea on the ground. He doesn't have tangible numbers. So for me, it's an open shut case. Brother, thank you so much. God bless you. Yeah, so it shouldn't just, listen, Pano Pasimoson, I am surrounded with so many people here at City Market. All I have to do is just to get a group of people and say, Kapangeni chongo palia mulandati turefo amwewa. You'll see how many people will show up. 1,000 people will line up the streets and say, Hello?
Hello?
Go ahead.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Oh, it's me, George Boy. I'm speaking from Chifubu constituency.
Kuchifubu?
Kuchifubu.
Mkwaye. Go ahead, sir.
Kuchifubu. Naba tu study omuntu fly over the state.
Naimwe naba mgonga.
Naba tugonga. Olo omuntu atireta twamuishiva.
Ni nani yo wini oyo? Ni nani oyo?
Dolos.
Aha.
Tatwamuishiva, tatwamumonapo, taisa pana Kuchifubu. Also, abantu baresta protest, barefo omuntu about the ground.
Which party? Which party?
PF.
Okay.
Uri omuntu uri pa ground. It's not that abantu nangushani. No, it's about uri omuntu akurira mu Chifubu constituency. Olo ari twishiva, no buchusho butamo. Omuntu twice this tarapana number 1. Why say so kurombe vote ku Chifubu? It's Mr. Frankie Ngambi. Uyu muntu apire mwishina ya munanko yuli no ule mini napa. Kumba Ngambi wino muntu mwine. TF. Kumba Ngambi uyu aleto muntu uwakwe Dolos. Awe Dolos ya aleta kuta mubika at adopted. Abantu kabamuishi batabaisho buchushi kitamu. Amureka. Oro muntu twayishibifwe bamufunyapo. Nomba bushe nangu chakwebati kuyo kuvota. Uyu muntu kutwamuvota shani tatwamwishwa tatwamumwonapo. Umuntu
Go ahead, ndeumfa.
Umuntu wesu bamusha. Because uri omuntu ya kondwani winga aka Major Trading arishwo ko tukitamu buchushi wetu ala stand pintu tukitamu uja meja kurira mu Chifubu atikamu omusebo wao nauka ekala muchumbusta kwikala doti takwikala kwita kufukama uri omuntu Ngambi uri obale telepafesi ekala mukansenshi mwakwe bati apita mutala ofarepta mutala lodi yali bastreti tabachisapo na consider ifwe after time in parliament tarera ndapo na ngufemo mu parliament nomba bamupera chance kumunanko yakwato dekenjimilile naine ine wonde iminina Ngambi abwera aleto omuntu umbi omwana kashi uikala kutauni aiso kwiminina ku Chifubu kutaisho kitamu amuleta seminine mu Chifubu ora nokusamu start dops nama result abatwendire ubushiku 01 why bakundire 01 barabena abantu aba bakuntanshi aba bafofront ebachinche pintu.
Okay, lekeni mukwaina umfa nomba ndefo kumipusha question imo. So ifita basadi de muntu wenu. mwala achita shani nomba manje apatiza achita bwanji.
If we're being as a citizen of this country,
This
is a free country. Zambia is a free country. Takwaba, tetwamba kusta protest ishachongo no. Abantu bachasta protest gwino fairly, but bangambi baita bakapokora baito kubekata. If we tetwamba kuposa amawe but if we therefore afye omuntu wesu emine omulanda ko twalichula nankwe alishbo mutwa pita. Kwena basimo ni umuntu batuletere dorosi.
So emkwai iyo ningumfweyo nomba ndefo kuipusha ifi basala umbi bamipela umbi bamitebeta umbi mwala chita shani filia ulio wakuchipata uliala ndile uliati manje apatiza chita bwanji njebeni afe mwala chita
apoko tuwana chitefwe na bantu wakuchifugu etubushe fyongo na kalya iyo
so mwala chita shani
pesunga chiriro kwemina PF hapa so ala mina independent MP because alish vote vote ala
so now bala mina bu independent they pushat so uyo ala mina bala mina independent no mbabo
taturafika conclusion ya hivyo hapa.
Okay, listen. Ngamwachita conclude yo mukanjebe nkabebe aba abantu pa Facebook.
Okay.
Thank you mkwa. Yo ama independent bengi. Unomwaka. Chani. Batwe yo ni independent. Ngawuya yo bali mufumya uya. Nga finisha yo ni independent number. A world full of independence. Akwaba. All right, this is the last phone call. I got to go to work. Hello. Hello, please go ahead, sir. This is SML TV.
Hello? Yes, sir. Mr. Chambala, sir.
Mkwai.
You are talking to Anthony Moipo, a Zambian who is based in Saudi Arabia currently.
Mkwai.
I just wanted to talk concerning the issue that was raised of JJ and going independent and against the patriotic front.
Mkwai.
You know, the problem and the culture that we have at home.
Oh, yeah, Putuka. Insufficient funds. Don't worry, brother. We all go through that. All of us. Hello?
Hello?
Hello. Please go ahead. You're through to SML TV live.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Well.
Yes, sir. Who am I speaking with?
You're speaking to Chitundu.
Yes, what Chitundu? From
Petauke.
Okay. Yes. Mwewa kupeta uko chirishani mwe. Tuberenga fepa Facebook. Tuebe ni.
I think I'm here to respond to the question that I earlier asked.
Sure, go ahead.
To how where are the numbers that have nominated or are supporting JJ to stand? In answer to that, I think every party has structures in the wards, in the constituencies at large, district level, and before somebody stands, they have elections, like representatives from those wards, from the district, and these other communities sit down, and assess who is the most popular candidate. And from the ward, they transmit that information, I think, to the district level to the provincial level. Then the provincial level submits that information to the NMC. And I think, to my understanding, that's the process that ought to occur. And that is why they decided to forward JJ as the candidate who they would want to represent, who they would want to have as the MP. So that being the case, I think that's the most appropriate process. However, the process of adoption, I think the process is flawed in that even if there are these structures which forward these names, which do these elections and assessments and then make the final submission to the NMC.
Now insufficient funds. It happens to everybody, guys. Okay, I gotta go. Thank you so much for listening. Let me switch this off. The show is over. Okay. God bless you. Thank you for listening. Vote wisely this year. And my last word to you, all of you that are political participants, yield yourself to the process. That's what you signed up for. If you are a party loyalist and you truly love your party, you cannot, on one hand, be disgruntled and leave because they didn't adopt you, and then on the other hand, praise the president of the same party. You are a hypocrite. That's called a misnomer, and you are trying to manipulate the system. Don't do that. And in any case, in my view, JJ Banda does not qualify to be a member of parliament. He simply doesn't have the ability, the wherewithal, and the dexterity to accomplish such a feat. He will fall flat on his face if he goes to parliament when he stands on the floor. And the sad thing about Zambian politics is that you can win on the ground. The people on the ground can approve of you. But once you go to the National Assembly, you will be a train wreck every single day. You'll just sit in the back and not say anything. Why? Because you cannot articulate yourself. Guys, in this world, there are people that are kings and there are people that are kingmakers. JJ is a kingmaker. He's a foot soldier. He's a kada. He's not a member of parliament. He doesn't have the stripes of a member of parliament. God bless you. Take care of yourselves.